Hey guys, Emanuela and Sunny here, and we are going to do a 10-minute stretch class today. So all you need is a mat. Let's get started. So coming down to table pose, taking your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and I want you to really think about spreading your fingers here, and that's going to give you more power, more stability for your table pose here. Now, as we inhale, start to lift your chin, lift your tailbone. We're trying to arch the back here. Exhale and round the back. As you're doing so, push yourself out of the floor. Point your tailbone down. Inhale to lift the chin, lift the tailbone, pull your shoulder blades back and down, and exhale to round the back and think about tailbone pointing to the knees, chin pulling into the throat. Continue moving with your breathing. Using that exhalation to round and think about the belly really squeezing into the spine. 2 more, moving at your pace of breath and really allowing the stretch to come into the spine and into the back. Let's do 1 more. Inhale and open it up. Exhale and round it in. Good job. Let's come to neutral spine. Walk your hands forward and sit your bum back towards your heels. If your hips are really tight, they're not going to go very far. You can use your hands underneath your forehead, or you can stack your fists underneath your forehead, or if you feel comfortable, just allowing the hips to sink right down, and you can let your head come down to the mat. But I don't want you to force anything. So this is our child's pose. We're trying to open up the back. So really think about really opening up your breath to stretch from the inside out. And feeling that exhale, softening your hips and knees. Inhale to come back up to table and just walk the hands a few inches forward, tuck your toes under and lift the hips, straightening the legs to downward dog. The intention of our downward dog is to open up the shoulders. If you have pretty tight shoulders, you might be here. If you have tight hamstrings, you might be here, and that's okay. Also, if your shoulders are tight and you allow your armpits to press back, you might feel a little bit of tension and tightness in the neck. So I just don't want you to push that far back. I want you to think about the neck being long and free so the breath can easily flow through the spine and down to the top of the head. And now let's just walk the hands back to the toes. Ground your feet. They should be about hip distance apart. So to measure that, you can just take your fists and bring them like side by side and place that in between your feet. Bend your knees, point your tailbone down, and start to roll it up to stand. When you get to your standing position, realign through the feet if you need to. And now we're just going to lift the heels and bring the heels down, lift the toes. And again, lift the heels, heels down, and lift the toes. So we're going to do that a couple more times. Check in with your shoulders and check in with the neck. Sometimes when we're doing something with balancing, we tend to look down or cave forward. So I want you to think about reaching up the top of the head to the ceiling. Shoulders are relaxed down as if you're sliding up and down the wall. So you're keeping everything in alignment. Good, 1 more. And releasing that down. Good, let's take both arms up to the ceiling, reach the arms up. And as we exhale, we're just side bending over to the right. You can take your right arm down and your left arm reaching over. A lot of times that left shoulder will hunch up. And sometimes there's not even that much range of motion to get the arm up over the ear, and that's okay. I want you to think about getting a stretch through your left side, all the way up through your armpit, and wherever that is for you. Take 1 more breath and really allow that space to happen through the ribs. A little bit of a bend in the knees, and exhale, come back up to standing, straight and neutral. Let's go other side. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, go over to the left, and you can just allow that left arm to slide down. A lot of people like to inch the left fingers down, trying to reach for the knee, but it doesn't really matter if you reach the knee. Also, sometimes that right side is going to be tighter than the left or looser than the left. So no expectation here. Just think about your breath opening up through that right side. And then you're exhaling, just draw the navel in, a little bit of a bend in the knees, keep spreading through the toes, bigger breath in. Let's use the exhalation to firm up the abdominal wall, come back up to center. Now taking both hands out wide, really spread the fingers, and taking the fingertips to point to the ceiling, like you're trying to push the walls away from you. This is really good to help create some movement in the wrists, as well as creating some space all the way through the arms, the biceps, and the shoulders. Now we'll go the opposite, so fingers pointing down, still reaching out of the knuckle or wrists. And notice here, we don't want to hunch or round through the back. So keeping the top of the head up, equal weight through the feet. Now take the arms to reach fingers to the sides of the room. Tuck your thumbs into your fists and make slow circles with the wrists. This one's a really good one, especially if you're at your desk a lot or typing or doing anything on the computer. This is a really nice one to help open up the wrists and the forearms. Let's go opposite direction. Good, let's take the arms to straight, or fingers to straighten out. Bring the fingers to the tips of the shoulders and make circles with the elbows. A lot of times people tend to go really fast through this one, so I want you to instead go a little bit slower. And we're trying to stretch the muscles around the back and around the chest, the muscles around the shoulder joint. Let's go other direction. And there may be an angle that feels a little extra tight. I don't want you to bypass that. Think about staying in that a little bit longer and letting your body stretch into that angle. Good. Let's release the hands right down by your sides. A little bit of softness into the knees. Take the right ear to the right shoulder. Bring the chin to roll it into the chest. Left ear to the left shoulder. Chin up to the ceiling. And again, this one is so simple but feels so good. And let's go opposite direction. And you'll feel one part or a few parts of the neck that feel extra tight. So give yourself that time to stretch into it a little bit longer. The next time the chin is up to the ceiling, we'll just hold it there and release the chin parallel to the floor. Just walk over to the wall, taking your hands onto the wall, keeping your hips right over your ankles, a little bit of a bend in the knees, and slide your left foot back. So what we're trying to do here is get a stretch into that left calf, and we're also trying to open up that right hip joint. If you want, you can walk your hands further down and maybe walk your feet, left foot further back, bending that right knee a little more. And if you want to, you can pulse this, moving up and down a little bit, getting a little bit of heat into that right knee and thigh. If you prefer to stay static, that's good too. Now as we're here, that left heel is reaching to the mat. If you need to, the heel is up, but we're actively trying to get that heel to stretch through the calf down to the mat. But again, nothing is forced here. Take one more breath. And exhale, right foot grounds, step the left foot forward. We're just switching sides. So reset through the hands, right foot goes back. Right heel pressing towards the mat, left knee pressing towards the wall in front of you. And if you want, you can adjust the hands. And if you want, you can start moving a little bit into that left knee, moving up and down. I also want you to track. Make sure that your knee is going in the direction of the toes. So if your hip just naturally kind of turns out to the side, then I want you to think about the knee going in that same direction that your toes are naturally going to go. We want to try to keep the pelvis squared to the front, so where your wall is. and just moving in that angle. So sometimes that right hip will want to pull back because the hip flexor is tight. So allow yourself to let that right hip flexor stretch as the right hip pulls forward. Let's do one more if you're doing your pulses. Good, and then let's ground that left foot, come back up to stand, ground into your feet equally. The right hand can stay on the wall. The right ankle starts to turn, come up onto your right knee. Sorry, right ankle, left thigh. And now start to bend the left knee. Oof, now you're gonna feel a nice stretch and a strengthening into that left quad. And we'll come back up and just switch sides. And bending that right knee. You can use your left hand just to gently draw that left knee towards the floor. Try not to grip the floor with your right toes. Let's come back up. We're gonna do the right side again. See if you can go a little bit lower. We're gonna hold this one and make slow circles with the right ankle. Continue to breathe. Let's go the opposite direction. Check in with your right hip. I don't want you dipping over to the left, so ground into your pelvis. Use the wall to help. And let's come back up. Good job. I feel that on the glute working. And let's switch sides. Left ankle, right thigh. Start to bend the right knee. Check in with the pelvis and stabilize it so we're not tilted over to the side. And let's circle through that left ankle. Even here, check the bottom of your right foot, spread the toes. Let's go opposite direction. Also here, collarbones are wide, core is strong. Good job. Let's come back up to standing. And hold on to the wall. Once again, we're just gonna walk both feet back, trying to get a stretch into the arms and the chest. A little bit of a bend in the knees, or more if you need it. We're also accessing the hamstrings here. I just want to make sure that you don't completely straighten the legs. That puts a lot of pressure on the knee joint. The further down you go, the more stretch you'll get to the chest and the hamstrings. Big breath and widen your ribs. Long exhale. Good, and let's walk the feet back underneath the pelvis. And let's reach the arms up, big breath in, big smile. Hands down, center line as we exhale. 2 more like that. Inhale, reach it up. Hands down, center line, exhale, big smile. 1 more, inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands down, center line. Good job. Have a great day and do any of these stretches throughout the day today. If you do some heel lifts or some hands on the wall and walking yourself back, some neck stretches are also really good to just add in whenever you get a chance. Let me know what you thought of that, and let me know if there's any other specific postures or specific things that you want to work on. Have a great day.